All right. If you would please grab out your 13.3 skills practice, and we're going to go through this together. All right, so the first section is asking us the different vocabularies for theoretical and experimental. Theoretical, remember this means in theory. Okay, what should happen? And experimental probability means what actually happens. Sorry. Okay, perform. It means you're actually doing the experiment. You're really performing the experiment. Okay, so I've got some problem sets here. They already completed number 1 for us. That way we have a great example. Because the question was asking the 2 number cubes are rolled in the product. So product means I'm going to multiply. Okay, so I'm going to write that up over here. But the product of the 2 numbers is shown as calculated. Calculate the probability that the multiple of 6. All right, so it filled in my number array. So it said for a number cube, I have 1 through 6, and then I have 1 through 6 again as well. Okay, so 1 times 1 is going to be 1. 2 times 2 is 4. Then 3 times 3 is going to, and so on and so on. Well, the multiples of 6 in the table are 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and 36. And I want to know how many times do I see these? Well, I see 6, what is it? 6, 12, 12, 12, 12, and 12. Oh, there's another 6 right there. 18. So everywhere I see an 18, I'm going to circle. 24, 30, and then 36. And it looks like it was 15 out of a total of 36. Well, now you're like, Ms. Roberts, how did they get to 36? I have 6 choices here, 6 choices here. Well, 6 times 6 gets me a total of 36 possible outcomes. Excuse me, to give me 15 out of 36. And I can divide both of these here by 3 to get me down to 5 out of 12. All right. Let's try several on our own. All right, number 2. Harriet spins the spinner 2 times. She determines the product, so I'm going to multiply these 2, and we're going to calculate. And I want to find the probability that the product is between, so I'm going to rewrite this here. Product between 20 and 50. All right, so for spin 1, I can get the numbers 2, 4, 6, and 8. For spin 2, I get 2, 4, 6, and 8. Okay, now remember, product is multiplying. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 6 is 12, 2 times 8 is 16. So I'm going to have 4, 8, 12, and 16. 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 6 is 24, 4 times 8 is 32. 6 times 6 is 36, 6 times 8 is 48. Remember, there's that beautiful little rhyme. And then 8 times 8 is 64. Okay. Well, what's the probability that my product is going to be between 20 and 50? Well, I have to see I have 16 total possibilities, and I want to know the probability that it's going to be in between 20 and 50. Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I have 8 out of 16. Oh, well, wait, nope, not 8. Ms. Roberts messed up because look, 64, that's bigger than 50. So 7 out of 16. 7 out of 16. All right, number 3, Harriet is spinning the spinner 2 times. She determines the sum of the 2 numbers, which sum, it means I'm going to add. Oops. Add the 2 numbers together. I want to find the probability that my sum is less than 8. So my alligator's eating 8, so everything that's smaller than 8. Well, I've got spin 1 here, and I can get 2, 4, 6, and 8. I have spin 2 here, which is 2, 4, 6, and 8. Well, now I'm adding. So 2 plus 2 is 4, 2 plus 4 is 6, 2 plus 6 is 8, and 2 plus 8 is 10. So I'm going to have 6, 8, and 10. Well, 4 plus 4 is 8, 4 plus 6 is 10, 4 plus 8 is 12, 10, 12. 6 plus 6 is 12, 6 plus 8 is 14, and then 8 plus 8 is 16. Well, I want to know the probability of everything that's smaller than an 8. So 4 and 6. Looks like I have 3 out of how many total do I have? 16. So 3 out of 16 is my total probability for here. All right, number 4. Kyle writes the numbers 1 through 3 on a paper, puts them in the bag. He chooses one paper, writes the number down, and returns it to the bag, and chooses another number. He subtracts the smaller number from the greater number. So I want to calculate the probability that I'm going to get the sum of 1. All right, so I'm going to say pull 1. I can get 1, 2, 3. Pull number 2. I can get 1, 2, and 3. Meaning, whatever numbers are, I'm going to take the bigger number and I'm going to subtract it from the smaller number. Okay, so 1 minus 1 is 0, 1 minus 2, or 2 minus 1 is 1, 3 minus 1 is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1, 2 minus 2 is 0, 3 minus 2 is 1, 3 minus 1 is 2, 3 minus 2 is 1, 3 minus 3 is 0. So what is the probability that my subtraction sum is ended up at 1? And it looks like I have 4 out of 3 times 3 is 9. 4 out of 9 total choices. Okay, 4 out of 9 total choices. There we go. All right, number 5. Okay, so I have a spinner. We're going to spin it each one time, and then he determines the product. So I'm going to multiply these two numbers, and we're going to calculate for the multiple of 10. So all of my multiples of 10. So I'm going to say multiple of 10. All right, so spinner 1. Spinner 2. Well, spinner 1, it looks like I have a lot here. So it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 0, 5, and 10. And I'm going to find the product, which means we're going to multiply these two numbers together. So 0 times 0, 1 times 5, 2 times 10, so on and so on. So I have 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Because 0 times anything is still going to be 0. Well, 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 10 is 10. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 10 is 20. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 10 is 30. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 10 is 40. 5 times 5 is 25. And then 5 times 10 is 50. Okay. Well, multiples of 10 is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 times 6 is 18 total. So 7 out of 18. Okay, 7 out of 18. All right, number 6. Jerry writes the letters M-A-T-H on a paper, puts them in bag 1. He writes the letters Y-E-S, so let's say bag 1. So I don't get mixed up. M-A-T-H. Bag 2, Y-E-S. And bag 2. He pulls one paper from bag 1, writes the letter down. He pulls one paper from bag 2 and writes the letter down next to that letter. I want to calculate the probability that the two letters spell a word. So probability of word. Okay. And it gave us the words are my, me, he, and as. Well, if I pull an M and a Y, I create my. M and E, I create me. M and S, I create MS. A-Y, I create A-Y. A-E, A-S, T-Y, T-E, T-S, H-Y, H-E, H-S. I want to know how many times do I create a word? We'll have my, me, as, he. Nope, 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 nope. So it looks like I created 4 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 4 out of 12, which this can be reduced by 4 to have 1 over 3, to have a 1 1/3 chance. Okay, down to some predictions here. I'm actually going to mark all of this off because we do not do that. Okay. If I take a spinner and I land on red, it says out of 8 times I'm going to land on red 3 times. Well, if I spin it 40 times, how many times am I going to land on red? So I'm going to write my probability. I'm actually going to rewrite it because I always like to have what I start with on the left and what I need on the right. And I'll look from 8 to 40. Well, I know 8 times 5 is 40. And I'm going to have to do the same thing to the top to see that I'm going to get 15 times. If I spin it 40 times, I should land on red 15 times. Okay. Well, let's take a look here. The multiple of 5 is 3 out of 4. If I spin my spinner 200 times, how many times should I land on a multiple of 5? Well, 4 times 50 is going to get me 200. And then what I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. Well, 3 times 50, you remember my 10s trick? 3 times 5 is 15, and then add a 0. Would be 150 times. Okay, it should be 150 times. All right, number 9. Probability of landing on a 4 is 7 out of 12. If I want to know out of 60 times, how many times am I going to land on 7? Well, I know that 12 times 5 is 60, so 7 times 5 is going to be 35 times. Okay. If you want to go ahead and pause your video and try numbers 10, 11, and 12, that would be great, and then come back and check. All right, so I have 8 out of 9 is equal to x out of 450. Well, 9 times 5 is 45, so 9 times 50 would be 450. Well, then 8 times 50 is going to be 400. Okay. Now I have a 1 out of 2, which equals 100 times. Well, 2 times 50 is 100, and then 1 times 50 is going to be 50 times. And then for the last one over here, 9 over 40 out of 2,000. Okay. If you're going to sit here and you need to know 40 into that, you're going to have to divide. Well, 4,000 divided by 40. I'll teach you a trick here. If you have a 0 on the top and a 0 on the bottom, those two can cancel out. So I'm left with now 200 over 4. And then I can divide from here. I'll show you this one. 5, 20, 0, 0, 0. So it's going to be multiplied by 50 times. So 40 times 50 is 2,000. Okay. If I multiply by 50 on bottom, I have to do the same thing to the top. So 9 times 5 is 45, and I only have 1 extra 0. So add that to make 450. Okay. All right. And then the last section. The last section is wanting to know, is it going to be experimental, theoretical, or is it going to be both? So I need to read each problem. So it did number 13 for us to show us the probability that new medicine will have a side effect, and it says experimental. The only way to determine side effects is to have a small group of people try medicine. Okay, we can't just have a theoretical. We have to say experimental. All right, the probability that 2 coins both land on heads when up or when tossed. This can be both. You can find the in theory. Okay, in theory, so I have 1/2 times 1/2, which would be 1/4 of a chance that it would happen. Or you can try the experiment where you're actually performing it. So you're flipping it, you're flipping your heads in of which each way. Okay. All right. Number 15, the probability that a paper will jam in a copy machine. This is experimental. You hear your teacher say it all the time, like, man, that copier always gets jammed. Well, this is by them going up to the front office and creating all of the copies. And they're going to say out of so many, it gets jammed this much. Okay. We can say in theory it would, but more so this needs to be an experimental probability. All right. The probability that a wood beam would be strong enough to hold a playset. This is going to be in theory. Okay. We do not want to sit there and put a piece of wood to a playset and just experiment and see, oh, is it going to hold up all of these kids playing on here? We do not want that. We should know, and in theory, it is going to happen. Okay. Number 17, the probability that a raffle ticket sold at a fundraiser will be chosen in the raffle. And this one is also in theory. You can create the experiment by actually conducting it, but this is the number of tickets for you that you put in for you over the number of tickets sold. So if you think about it, if there are 5 tickets sold and you put 2 in, you have a 2 out of 5 chance that your name is going to be pulled. Okay. And then the last one, the probability that a customer will win a prize at a carnival booth that involves tossing a ring around a bottle is going to be experimental. You will go up and watch and record what happens. Okay. About win or lose. Thinking, out of 3 people that play, 1 wins. Okay. If you have any questions, please let me know.